Hello, everybody. It's your friendly neighborhood INFP, and I have been meaning to get this video up for like the last week or so, but my body has um, been knocking me out, shall we say, before I could. My body has decided that sleep is far more important than bringing out any sort of late night rambles, and so before I was able to do any of such things, my body would just like, and I mean, I know, like with my eyes being like look at this, look at this. I know some of you are going to be like, INFP, you take care of yourself, get better sleep. I'm trying. I am trying. I promise you, I am trying. Uh, but sleep schedules has not exactly been one of my best endeavors throughout the years. I tend to struggle with it. So, what happened? 2 weeks ago, I went to a fan expo here in Vancouver, dressed up in my mad scientist gear and all of that. Great time, great time. 3 days, fabulous time. Bunch of people got some neat merch from it. Like this is one of my favorites that I got. This Zelda thing from a Zelda mystery box. That was kind of cool. And then of course I personally picked this one. If I show the upside, yes. I personally picked this one out. I still need to implement it onto my desk. But as you can see, it is quite pretty. Mine is like, as well as like a bunch of EV stickers and like other stickers. So I like going to cons. I got a bunch of dice. Anyways, there's a lot I got, but there is one thing that does tend to happen to myself and many other introverts who go to cons is that it tends to wipe us out. It is 3 days of consistently being on, and especially if you have to drive like an hour to and fro the con every day, which is what I had to do. Technically, it would have been closer to 2 hours, an hour there, an hour back, so on and so forth. Um, it gets exhausting. It gets very tiring. There's thousands of people, thousands upon thousands of people. Um, on one of the days we wanted to do videos only to find out that you're apparently, at least in Canada, in Vancouver, not allowed to do any videos inside of the con talking to people, so I wasn't able to be completely unhinged and running around like a madman doing um, silly shenanigans and antics. So there was that, but the the reason it took, I personally want to say it took a week for me to recover from this con after like the 3 days of being on. I want to say it took me a week of recovery. The more likelihood is that it probably took me closer to 2 weeks. Now, some of that may have been due to my stupidity in wanting to complete certain things, storylines, games, whatever, and staying up way past any regular normal sense of time that one should theoretically be awake in. Thus giving me 3.5 hours of sleep, to which my body was like, okay, well, we're not going to make you tired this day, but every day thereafter, you are going to be catching up on some much needed sleep. And, I'm not exactly the young person that I was in my 20s where, staying up, even though what I did in my 20s probably led to my eyes being like this, but it doesn't matter. It probably didn't help that I am a night owl when I can be. Like, naturally, I gravitate towards being a night owl, and as far as I'm aware, night owls aren't exactly the best when it comes to keeping their eyes and just general things taken care of. This also meant that my working out and all of that wasn't able to happen as frequently as I'd wanted it to, because yes, I am working on my body. I am working on losing the weight that I am trying to lose. I am trying to regulate how much of certain things I eat and all of that. I am actively working towards making myself healthier. But, and like people, you might ask yourself, okay, well, if you if you get so exhausted going to these cons, why do you go to them? Well, it's the same reason, even though something might exhaust you in anything else, and as to why you go to them because you like them. I feel like that is a obvious choice. Now, I will be going to Anarivo here in August, I believe, first week of August, first weekend of August. I'll also be going to Fan Expo next year in February. I think it is Family Day when that is happening. Early tickets should be up now or relatively at some, either now, this week, next week. Tickets are coming up on sale relatively soon here for that, which I'll probably get looking into paying for. Maybe I'll get the VIP, probably not. I'll see. I don't know. I just know that if you're an introvert, any kind of introvert, even if you are the most social of the introverts, even extroverts, okay, you're going to be exhausted after a con. A con, depending on how many events you go to, how many things you buy, how much you've been walking. Speaking of which, if you haven't been to a con before and you're looking at going to a con, make sure you are okay with walking a lot. And I mean, like, a lot. You're going to be walking. So, for example, with myself, I walked a total of 26 kilometers in 3 days. And that was just on the shops. If this had been Anarivo, I probably would have walked more because there would have been two levels. There wasn't two levels this time for the Fan Expo. I'm not entirely sure why. But for Anarivo, there's typically two levels that I'm going to be walking to and fro whichever the events are between the two. If you're shopping, you're going to be going down below, and then if you need an event to catch up to, there's going to be an event that you're going to need to get to. And even though I'm going to be putting this in my not personality type videos, I did come to discover that there are typically 3, maybe 4 types of people who go to cons. The first person is I would call them the shopper. They're going there mostly to shop. They're going to see all the booths and everything to shop and everything. And this is not like the people who set up shops or anything like that. Those are a completely different breed of con goers. I'm talking more the people who go there who aren't selling something, part of an event, etc. You've got the shoppers, which I kind of fall into. You've got the event goers, which I sometimes go to some of them. Then you have the hybrids who will often switch between the two. They'll go between the events, check out some shopping, go between the events, check out some shopping, and there's going to be some mixing going on there. And then the last con goer type, if you like, I would tie this personally into the event goer, because you are going up to see the celebrities, hence events, and you're going to get them to sign things for you. That to me signifies events. But typically, if you wanted to add in a 4th type, it would be the people who only go if there are people they want to meet, specifically certain types of idols, celebrities, musicians, whatever, who they want to get things signed. They will go for that. Now, What you need money for, what you don't need money for will all depend on where you fall into each of the categories. And typically, if you are a shopper, you're going to need at least 1,000, if not more. You could get by with 500, but when I went in there with 1,000, that was like a good minimum ballpark. I'm going to be aiming for the 2000s for Anarivo, and then who knows what I'm going to be aiming for when it comes to Pan Expo again. Probably the same amount, if not maybe a little lower, because I tend to spend more at the anime cons than I do at just general Fan Expo cons, but also depends on what clothes and everything is available, and those can get very expensive. And by expensive, I mean that they can very easily hit like the $500 marks for like one cloak. Just so we're in a level, or even like just so we understand how expensive the clothes, and they're not bad quality clothes, they're actually quite good quality clothes, but they will get expensive. So having some money for that is ideal. And of course, walking, bring water, all that kind of stuff is just the typical things that if you have not gone to one that is like this, just some general advice. But it is it's an experience, that's for sure. I've been to a bunch of cons before, and yes, each and every single time I've gone to one, I kind of wish that I had taken the day extra off so that I could rest instead of go immediately to work. If I were to start making money off of like what I do on YouTube or my poetry or any other creative hobby that I have that I try to send out there, maybe I would be able to use like that would be like an easier time for me to get rest. But as it stands, for most people, I feel like having that extra day off would have helped me and would help other introverts and even extroverts, because I would argue that that a con would even exhaust an ESFP, and an ESFP in my mind, and even ESTP and other high energy extroverts who go to cons, you're going to have to correct me if I'm wrong, if you are a high energy extrovert or just generally an extrovert, how exhausted you get after a con, like how many days you need to rest, how many hours you need to rest, how long until it is before you're good and ready to go. Because in my mind, I feel like this would exhaust high energy extroverts. But then again, I'm not around enough high energy extroverts to properly assess how much it would exhaust them. I'm typically around the low energy extroverts to introverts. That's typically been my friendship group. Would I be dealing badly with a high energy extrovert group? Not necessarily. It's just the people I've ended up with not convincingly, like coincidentally, have all been more like lo-fi, low energy type vibes going on, which isn't a problem. Like even the extroverts that I am around and the extrovert I am around has more energy than me, but I also know he does not have as much energy as the highest of energy extroverts. So I don't know how much this would actually exhaust a person like an ESFP, ESTP, ESTJ. ENTJ, yeah, I feel like yeah, I think it depends on the type of con and how much it might. I don't know where an ENTJ would fall in this. ESFJ, sure. Let's throw ESFJs up there as well. I and ENFJs, like I don't know how much of the energy levels they have they will need to recover. So, like I said, I thought I would need at least a week of recovery. It felt like I needed a week of recovery. It was a lot of walking, which isn't terrible, and that's not what exhausts you. What exhausts you is the amount of people, the amount of stimulation that's going on, because there's a lot going on all at once, all the time, and you're like constantly looking around all the time, trying to find something you're interested in, trying to find something you like, trying to go to an event you're looking forward to, trying to find this, trying to find that, trying to not get lost in time, which is another aspect of going to cons, especially cons like this, is that there is a heavy sense of time blindness. You go in there being like, oh yeah, an hour in, an hour out, we're going to be good. You go in, and then 7 hours later, you're like, wait, what? You don't even notice the time pass. Unless, you get hungry, you look at the clock, and you're like, oh, dang, where did the 4 hours go? I thought we were only in here for like 1 hour. And unless you have like some weird heightened ISTJ or other type J sense of time, you are going to lose track of it so easily that it just like that added on with everything going on just adds on to the levels of exhaustion. And then not only that, but if there are events that you do want to go and check out, if you don't have alarms set up, if you don't have some kind of scheduling thing, if you aren't like focused enough to like be able to be like, okay, this time I'm going to do this time I'm going to do this time I'm going to do this, it is going to be extraordinarily easy for you to lose track of the events that you want to go and attend. So that's another thing to consider, and it is a lot. Like there's a lot that goes on that just overwhelms you, and some people may thrive in those types of situations and get heightened and excited and all of that. And when I'm in it, yes, I am on what some people would call an adrenaline high. And many others, introverts, will be on a adrenaline high. It's what comes after the fact that is going to leave you winded. Then, if you're as stupid as I was, where after the first week when you're trying to do stuff but you can't do anything, and you're like, no, I can I can totally do this thing, totally send this out, only to then be like, nope, guess I can't, because you are knocked out. Like your body will tell you and bring you to a point where you will pass out before you can actually do any of the other things that you were setting out to do creatively. How do I know? Because that is what has been happening to me for like the past 2 weeks. 1, because of the con, and 2, because I didn't get proper sleep the second week, and my body was just not having it. And for some of us, we do need a considerable amount of time to recover before we continue on to something. Like, okay, so here's the thing. Typically, so I run D&D, and I play in D&D typically on Saturdays. And so for 3 hours, I am constantly talking or constantly listening to people, which isn't generally a problem, like the talking and listening to people during the session. However, after the session, after I finished talking, after I finished putting in the pieces or whatever, or my character has done the things that they need to do, after the session, I typically need a nap or a pick-me-up or something, because I will be hit with a level of exhaustion where I'm going to be like, okay, nope, I need to go into, like, I need to relax, I need to rest, I need to breathe, essentially. I need to do something that, like, is... I need to veg, essentially. Like, I need to veg. When I've ever... Doesn't matter who I'm interacting with. If I'm interacting with a person or groups of people for a period of time, I will need to veg afterwards. Like, okay, so in the summertime, I go and I volunteer as a camp counselor in a youth camp. And after that week, like you would think that, you're getting proper rest during the weekend. No, or during that week. No. You're dealing with a bunch of teenagers. And because you're dealing with a bunch of teenagers means you're on even when you're asleep. You're still kind of on. Which means that by the time that week is over, the next week I would just want to rest, but I can't because then I would go to work. And but even when I go to work, because like work isn't as strenuous, at least my work isn't as strenuous as some other work out there, I can kind of use that as a time to de-escalate or de-stress, there's a word I'm looking for, can't think of it, but you get the idea. And so I use that time to like just relax, calm down, settle down. And it's kind of like one of those weird moments where my work becomes more relaxing than going to the kids' camp, or becomes more relaxing than going to a con. Now, am I getting proper rest by doing that? It depends on the sleep schedule. And like I said before, my sleep schedule is not great. So, this has been a video that I have wanted to put out. I got, actually, there is one more thing that I did get. If you can see down there, I got like a cute little evolution with Jolteon, Vaporeon, and Flareon, with like a little Eevee in this middle figurine. I waited till the last day to get that, or did I wait until Saturday to get that? No, I waited until Sunday to get that because I wasn't sure if I could find, something Legend of Zelda, Genshin, or whatever anime I was watching. Like even like that time I was reincarnated as slime, couldn't find anything that I wanted based off of that. There are very typically things that I will go and look for in these situations, but yeah, due to this, it leaves me exhausted, and I know it leaves other introverts and extroverts exhausted, and it does not have to be a con. I think that with a certain level of stimulation, and or events that you're constantly going to, or if you're constantly at a call center having to deal with a bunch of people calling in to complain, it will exhaust you, and you are going to need a weekend or whatever to take a break, to decompress. That's the word I was looking for, decompress. You're going to be looking for a period of time where you can properly decompress. And have I fully decompressed yet? I don't know. I'm trying. I think I've decompressed definitely from the con. I've decompressed from not treating my body right, in the sense of staying up too late and only getting 3 to 4 hours of sleep. I learned from that. There's also like the weird other thing that drinking certain types of energy drinks might cause me to be more exhausted than, because like energy drinks are supposed to like be a kind of pick you up. But then when so is that because I haven't gotten the right amount of sleep, and so I've been drinking the energy drinks, and so it's just the system coming back to dunno. I think that might be the case because weirdly might have made things worse because my body would be like, okay, no, that's it, we're done here, and then I was out. So yeah, that is where I was at. But because all this has happened, because I've decompressed, because like I've moved forward and like started things have started picking up. I am looking at doing more videos here coming up, which should have started in February. But you know what they say, better late than never. And yeah, just look forward to whatever comes out when it comes out, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.